So the other day, a colleague asked me, what is one book I recommend for her to read that will just put her kind of miles ahead of where she's at right now? What is the one book that will really help her out? Because she feels like there's so many books that she should read. And I told her, well, if you're looking for one book, I'm going to tell you to read The Mythical Man Month by Fred Brooks Jr. Simply because you need to focus on the chapter called No Silver Bullet. There is no silver bullet. No one book is going to put you ahead. No one book is going to just all of a sudden make everything so different for you. Unless maybe that book is clean craftsmanship. What's going on, YouTube? It's been a while. It's been a couple months. It's funny. I always say, I'm back. Here we go. Gonna do some stuff. And then life just kind of gets in your way and you don't do those things. And then you sit and you just kind of ponder, man, I really wanted to do a video about this, or I really want to do a video about that. And ooh, man, I should totally do a video on this thing over here. And then you don't do it because just life gets in your way. So I think I found my motivator. Just buy some new gear, got a couple new lights and other things, and it's kind of motivated me. Let's talk about a book you need to read that is really gonna set you up for 2023. All the books that I've read, not trying to sound like a bookworm nerd, this one probably would have to be the one I would initially go to and tell people to read for multiple reasons. No matter even kind of what they're wanting to do, because it hits on so many different things of development. It's not very language specific, so whether you're a front-end developer doing web or iOS, or you're a back-end developer writing APIs or just anything like that, what's one book that you would probably put towards the front of the list? And Clean Craftsmanship right now is that book. It used to be pretty much Clean Code. I was always a guy that would recommend Clean Code. Oh, you want to read a book? Read Clean Code. You haven't read Clean Code? You haven't heard of Uncle Bob? Enough said. Go read it. So what is this book all about? Three big things: disciplines, standards, ethics. Those three things. That's it. But it goes a little deeper than that. It starts out going into a very disciplined deep dive of how you should be doing test-driven development. Sidebar, if you're not doing test-driven development, seriously go look in the mirror and ask yourself why. Go start with the developer in the mirror and ask them to change their ways. If you're not doing test-driven development, you're writing software wrong. I'll stand by that. I'll stand by that 100%. Should you go read Kent Beck's Test-Driven Development? Absolutely, 100%. Go read that book. If you haven't read it, go read it. But in this book, he really emphasizes you write a little bit of a test. You write the minimum amount of production code to make that test work. And you go back and you write the next part of your test. And then you write the next part of the production code. And then you write like your last part of the test, your assertion. And then you write the last bit of production code to make it pass. And then you refactor. You're just in that cycle and you're red, green, refactor, red, green, refactor. Just constantly in that. And you're actually going really fast. You're going in that circle very fast. And you're also going fast because you don't spend a lot of time writing code you don't need. So he goes through that with a couple good examples. He starts out with a bowling score game. How do you write an application that will give you a bowling score? And what's awesome in this is right out of the gate, he introduces you to stair-step tests. So in this, he starts it out, he's writing a test, okay, get it to compile. Okay, I write a little production code. Okay, write the test. Okay, it passes. All right, write the next test. A little production code to make it compile. Okay, go and look back. Okay, well, this is kind of doing the same thing here. So let me go and get rid of this. And then he looks at it and he's like, well, this test really doesn't do any value. So let me delete it. And for a split second, you've got production code with no test. People are going to be like, whoa, what? No, I'm done with it. But hold on. Just hold on. The man knows what he's doing. It's because those tests were stair step for the next test. That third test that you write is the test that you hold on to and keep. Now, you could write that third test if you didn't do your refactoring as well. And then you would see, okay, well, these two basically, this is covered in here and this is covered in here. So I'll delete one and I'll delete number two and keep number three. But he does that and it's kind of crazy and cool because it gets you to understand that, okay, I'm gonna write a test as I'm doing, my little red-green refactor here on that test, right? I'm gonna write that test. test. And then I'm gonna think about the next one. I'm gonna do my little cycles, my red, green refactor on that one. And you'll start to realize that like, okay, well this test really kind of set me up to write this test. This covers that, so we can get rid of that. So you can remove some of and it's okay because that was setting you up to get to the test you're at. He also goes into why you do that short little cycle. Like you'll go out there and watch some other videos on YouTube or Pluralsight or O'Reilly online. People give talks. They'll show you test-driven development and they're gonna take the test and they're gonna write like the whole test. They're gonna write the whole test. They might even write out like 7 tests. Just, empty methods to be like, all right, we're gonna do this and this and this and this and this. And then they're gonna start writing like kind of all the test code right there. And then you're gonna go over here and you're gonna do a big chunk of production code to do that. Rookies do that. Rookie mistake. Don't do that. And the reason why is because as you evolve with your test, if you go too far ahead, what you'll end up doing is you could be coding up an algorithm that's just totally wrong and inefficient. You're supposed to stop and be like, you know what? This test is gonna make me write too much. It's gonna make me implement too much. Let me do more of like a simpler, more degenerate test. Kind of turn into like how to do test-driven development. Sorry, I'll stop taking it to TDD church here. But right out of the gate, you're doing TDD and then you're actually making sure you're writing your tests properly. You're literally architecturally setting up your unit test in your application, and then goes a little bit more about on those unit tests that you're writing, how your test code starts getting more specific and your production code starts becoming more generic. It does then go into refactoring a little bit and then kind of wraps it up with like simple design. It goes a little bit with Yagni, you ain't gonna need it. And then the standards. So it just talks about productivity and quality. There's some good chapters in here. Right out of the gate, my favorite one, we will never ship because you're a professional. Professionals don't do that. Slackers do that. Rookies do that. Then my other big favorite one in here, and this is huge. I think I'm gonna probably create a whole video around agile testing versus waterfall testing. Right here in the book, we will not dump on QA. If there is just one thing that gets my blood just almost to a boil, is developers that just toss code over the wall and say, QA will find it if there's a bug. I don't write bugs, I write good code, man. Good luck, QA, you ain't gonna find a bug. That's right, QA ain't gonna find a good bug because they aren't the ones that should be doing anything to find the bugs. QA is a quality coach, they're not a quality cop, but we don't dump on them. Your automation engineers writing your automation tests, when they're done with those, you grab those tests and you run it against your code. Take some ownership of what you wrote. Take some ownership of what you deployed. Take some ownership of what you're about to put out there. Again, goes even back to the beginning in here. We don't ship shit, as you can tell. I hate that. I hate dumping. I hate waterfall. I hate throwing over the wall. I'm gonna go back in 2014 and find my younger Josh self and slap him upside the damn head. The last part is the ethics, just kind of goes over some ethics about role models versus villains, good programmers versus not good programmers, developers, whatever you want to call each other. And then the last chapter ends with 3 words, sum up my mentality of this year and going forward in my career. Never stop learning. Never stop learning. You're either green and growing or you're ripe and rotting. That's it. That's life. You're either learning, either getting better, or you've peaked and you're rotting. You're dying. You're done. You're over the hill, buddy, gal. There is no cruising because you're not. You're actually cruising to death. You're rotting. So yeah, Clean Craftsmanship, Uncle Bob, highly recommend. Go read it. Never stop learning. Wife says this a lot and I love her for it. You don't know what you can't achieve until you don't achieve it.